Hello, long time no video. I have just been settling into new lands, new places, and finding my feet. And I had some really potent channels come through this morning, and this was in connection with a lot of what is going on in the world right now, a lot of the media distractions, shall we call them. And I think it's really important when we are trying to understand the world around us and trying to understand the esoteric symbology, the esoteric and occult meanings behind things that are happening, that we really tune into our discernment and we do not take things at face value, and we don't just look at what is happening in the world from various different outlets and just buy that as the whole truth. And one thing that was really coming through really strongly was how can we hold our field? How can we anchor in what many of us are here to anchor, which is New Earth blueprints, which is connected with the old paradigms of Earth which are dying. So when we find ourselves playing into those old paradigms and those old structures, we're not doing what we came here to do. We're not doing what we set out to do. And that's especially true if you are a healer, if you're a helper, if you're somebody who is not plugged into that mainstream stuff in the same way. And likely you've probably felt like that most of your life, or we all have our different stories, but being somebody who's here to be a change maker rather than keep the same systems and grids in place, and we are not able to create those shifts when we're still plugged into those old grids, when we're still playing the same narratives over and plugging into lack of anything that's connected with lack of sovereignty, so victimhood, helplessness, all of that kind of stuff. And one thing that I have really noticed is when it comes to news outlets, it's, I would say, this is my opinion, most advisable to not tune into those energies, because they are even the lettering that they use, BBC, CNN, all of these are encoded with certain occult symbology and frequency. And I witnessed this in real time myself when, I can't remember what year this was, it was maybe 2016 or something. I went to check the news on my phone, and I literally watched a timeline glitch happen right in front of me. It was like, I was gonna check it and I was like, wait a minute, why am I even doing this? Like, it's just like this habit. It doesn't even mean anything. It's, and even at that time, I was still very much awake to things that were going on, but I still used to check the news. And I went to look at it, and it's like I could see the two timelines. I could see the timeline where I plugged into the BBC website, and then I could see the timeline where I didn't, and it was like they both just flashed in front of me, and I was like, whoa, this is deep occultism that is used even behind the websites, the TV channels, whatever it is. They use ritualistic programming. And something that was coming through in a client session today as well was, really being aware where you're putting your energy. When you are going on these news sites, you are partaking in ritual. Whether we're conscious of it or not, you're partaking in ritual. You're offering up your energy on a platter to something outside of yourself. And I think we have to be really conscious of that. We are in this time where so many solar flares, so much light hitting the planet. So it's in these times where we can, if we choose to, we can experience rapid acceleration and transmutation within our energetic bodies. However, if we are choosing to plug into the news every day, if we are choosing to plug into the drama, because this is what all of this stuff is, it is essentially drama. And that's not to say that, for example, the plight of the Palestinian people is just drama. No, that's not what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say is that this holy war has been orchestrated, and that's not to say that there aren't true and real, very real casualties. Even for me personally, I've always been aware of Israel and Palestine, because growing up, my mom's best friend was Palestinian, so she was my auntie when I was growing up. So there's never been a time I've not been aware or not seen firsthand even the plight of the Palestinian diaspora. However, there's being able to witness all of that and witness everything that has gone on in human history, and this pattern of colonization and the ways that humans set out to destroy one another and divide one another. There's being able to witness that, and there's also not adding emotional fuel to it and going, oh my God, this is so terrible, this is so awful. That energy right there is drama, because we're fueling it, we're feeding it. Drama is theater. When we go and watch a theatrical play, even though it's not real, we're still pouring all of our emotions into it. That's why theater has been used as an occult practice and as a ritualistic practice since, farther back than we even have records of. So being aware of how theatre plays out on the main stage, on the big screen, is really important as well. When you have actors, Greta Thunberg, anybody, right? I would really advise, if you've not looked into who her family are and the links that they have, that you do that. Because if you're coming from that place of, oh, Greta is some savior or whatever, I'd really advise you look at the Thunberg family, and then it becomes a lot easier to see that she's an agent of chaos, that she's an agent of control, and is, no different to Donald Trump or Elon Musk or any of these people. She's just playing a different role in the same orchestration, right? It is no coincidence that in pretty much the same week, we've had the whole thing with Greta and Gaza and the whole thing with Trump and Musk. That's distraction. What are you avoiding by watching this play out on the main stage? What are you running from? What do you not want to look at within yourself? Because there's one thing about being aware, but not plugging in, not feeding, not pouring in emotionally, not feeding these rituals. That's really key. That's really key, because that is old paradigm, and that's what they're trying to keep us plugged into. So the more that we are able to witness and not attach stories, not attach meaning, not attach all of that very fourth dimensional frequency onto these kinds of things, not create identities out of it, not go, well, I stand here and this person stands there, so we can't connect. The less we plug into the stories, the emotions, the beliefs, the projections, all of that stuff is old paradigm. The more we are able to witness that as it is, unplug and hold our own field strong and steady, the better we are to share our medicine with the world. And you don't even have to be somebody who has a platform or is a healer or holding sessions or anything like that, by you doing that work within yourself, you emit that frequency out across the world. You embed that within the ley lines of the earth. That's the new earth blueprinting. That's the new earth frequency. That's probably, if you're in any way in alignment with me, probably what you came here to do. So just being aware of where we're choosing drama and procrastination over what it is we're actually here to do. And you'll know if that's you, because when you see stuff in the news, you spiral and you're like, oh my God, right? That's drama. That's drama. Our response to that is drama, and it's not holding your field. If we can be knocked off our axis by a news headline, we need to really be looking at what's going on within us and why we're choosing distraction, why we're choosing timelines of distraction over the timelines of our soul's highest evolution. And that's another thing that's really key within this, is how we can plug into distraction timelines, we can plug into implant timelines, we can plug into the whole variety, right? We can plug into timelines where we're running our past life trauma. All of these timelines are not the ones which keep us in our growth and in our expansion and in our evolution. So thank you for listening to this video. And if you have any feedback, anything you'd like to share, I'm all ears, and wishing you a lovely rest of your day.